Do you personally like the change of having a later starting schedule?
I do. And the reason why I like an 8:30 start time, because it's based in science. There is a mountain of educational research that shows that adolescents' brains do better with learning when they are awake and learning later on in the day.
I think it is important for teenagers to get more sleep in class. Most first and second period classes are pretty sleepy anyway. And I think if you're going to stay up that late, then you'll naturally get in there.
I think most students who at first period and second period aren't actually ready for the day.
I think it's the best choice for students' academics, but also for their mental health and wellness.
Would you rather have block scheduling or regular scheduling in a school day?
Yeah, so our staff right now are looking at around a dozen different bell schedules, and there's a variety of different schedules that the teachers are looking at. Some traditional 7-period day schedules. There's some block schedules that are 5 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, and kind of all the different combinations. So I don't know if I'm going to say which schedule I'm for or against sort of here. The schedule I am for is one that can reduce student stress, that can help students have time during the day to connect with their teachers and seek out extra support. And I certainly think that one of the schedules that we're currently looking at can do that.
From an English teacher point of view, I think block schedule is fantastic. It allows me to have time to discuss, allows me to go and give students time to read. So it's a mixture of being able to lecture, discuss, and then also get into the reading. It's more reflective of what we're preparing students for, because high school is supposed to be, preparation for college readiness. College schedules aren't smashed into one day from 1 to 6 or like 2 to 6 or whatever. It's block also, and I think it's very good for students because now they have a little bit extra time for them to do work or prepare for the next class. Hopefully with the block schedule, teachers won't do things like assign more work. Quantity is never the answer. It's rather like the quality of the assignments and what you're having students do. I think block schedule will be much better for teachers and students as long as we're able to adjust to it properly.
How do you think the schedule will impact students themselves?
That's a great question. I mean, for one, going to be getting up a lot later. Regardless of whatever bell schedule is selected, no class is going to be starting before 8:30 a.m. There is no 0 period would start before 8:30 a.m. Sleep cycles will surely change. Another big change may be students requesting a first or a second period start. Traditionally we've had our 7-period day and students know about that and know what they want. If the classes though end later, like around 4 o'clock, you may see students changing what schedules they request. And potentially that could have an impact on after-school activities as well. Things like athletics, things like HOCO practice after, you need to think about when it gets dark, that sort of thing. I think there are definitely going to be a lot of changes for students, some that we can see coming, and some that we will discover sort of once we make this transition.
Do you personally have any activities that you run or supervise that you think will have like complete changes or large changes?
Well, I kind of supervise the whole school, right? So I would say the changes for the school of going to 8:30 is going to be big for staff. A lot of staff will need to figure out commuting options, will need to figure out childcare options as well.
I think it's going to impact them in the evening. I think it's going to impact activities and their homework. I honestly think it's going to have the opposite effect because students are going to stay up later. Not like they're going to get more sleep.
I wonder about athletics, particularly given how some of the games are scheduled. I wonder about students missing class time. I do wonder about practices for battle and things like that when the days are still shorter. Club meetings and things like that. So I think we'll need to wait and see. A lot is determinant on what kind of schedule we select. And then we'll kind of know what the changes will be.
And last question, how will this change personally impact you and your schedule?
So I'm one of the administrators that works the early shifts. So I get here at 7 a.m. every morning. So personally, I would be able to start work later as well. I would like that. It's definitely tiring, even for adults, to wake up that early every day. For mental health, it's kind of not fun when you arrive to work and it's dark, and then you leave work and it's dark also, right? So for me, I anticipate that I'll wake up later.
I think that it will cut down on a lot of what I will do for the school. And I hate thinking about that. Something that just bothers me, to my core. And I just don't think that students are going to be willing to get up early and come into school early to do activities. I just can't see that happening at this point, but I can be surprised.
If we do transition to a significantly different bell schedule, we'll need to work with staff on getting ready and preparing for it. But I think the sleep is just like students, it will have a big impact for staff as well.
One of the biggest changes is for clubs and activities like sports and stuff. Well, the reality is that they are going to have less time in the day, because instead of getting out at 3 or a little bit earlier than that and starting right on your activities, you're gonna have to start a lot later. In my opinion, it's gonna balance out with the amount of time, like when they have to wake up and go to the next class. But there's definitely gonna be a transition. We can have a later start plus block schedule. It will help activities. It will help club activities. It will help sports and things like that. It'll be like the best overall for students and their activities and extracurriculars.